This video is presented by Western and Southern Financial Group, a game plan for your financial future. Every great team starts with a strong foundation, and your future should too. With life insurance built like a championship roster, Western and Southern helps protect what matters most so you can focus on winning today while planning for tomorrow. Whether you're just starting out your journey, building your dynasty, or ready to retire like a champion, Western and Southern has the right play for your life stage. Visit westernsouthern.com to get your free life insurance quote today. Western and Southern, built to win. Commanders and Vikings. I tried to think of something with a merger there. I couldn't get anything. Minnesota wins this game 31-0. There's nothing merging about this.
No.
It was a one football team played.
The other one.
And the other one kind of tried to play.
Yeah.
Top 5 graded players that we had for Minnesota. Defensive tackle Javon Hargrave with a 93.0. Tight end Josh Oliver, a 92.8. We got Washington's on there? Okay, well, let me read Washington's first. Hold on. We got Washington's on the screen. Center Tyler Biadasz, 75.1. Offensive tackle Laramie Tunsil, a 73.0. Cornerback Jonathan Jones, a 73.8. Linebacker Bobby Wagner, a 73.6. And then safety Quan Martin, a 66.8. Jaden Daniels in this game, a 55.7 before sort of re-injuring that non-throwing arm. I didn't see what the official diagnosis was for him afterwards.
I think it seemed like a banged up thing,
Right.
because it was such a wide score that they
right.
were just like, let's not.
Yeah.
Which I would consider that the rest of the way, honestly. But
Yeah. On Minnesota's side of things, defensive tackle Javon Hargrave had a 93.0 overall grade. Tight end Josh Oliver, a 92.8. Offensive tackle Brian O'Neill, a 92.3. Safety Harrison Smith, a 90.1. Edge rusher Andrew Van Ginkel, an 81.0. And J.J. McCarthy, 78.4.
we'll take that.
Overall grade.
Nothing wrong with that.
We'll take that at this point. Seth told the story, Dalton.
Well, I think it goes without saying, but we get paid to say it, so I'm going to do it. The Vikings had their best offensive day.
You get paid for this?
I get paid in free water. 86.9 offensive grade.
Yep.
5.1 yards per play. We can live with that.
Pretty good.
And
yeah.
you know what I like about it? The balance. 51.6% run rate in this game.
Mm-hmm.
First time this year they've been over 50%.
Nice.
We like that. We like that with a pseudo-rookie quarterback. And I think Kevin O'Connell did a nice job against especially this defense of, let's simplify things. Let's get some isolated routes going. Let's get some easy high-low half-field reads going. Let's get the play action, the run game going. Let's turn J.J. McCarthy, for now, kind of like Ben Johnson's done in Chicago, let's turn him back into a complementary piece, right? Now let's run our offense. And this was really the best game all year where they've done that. And McCarthy can look good as a complementary piece, right? He doesn't feel the pressure of having to throw it 40 to 45 times. They're not behind early because they can't run the ball. They're controlling the pace of the game for the most part, right? This was a good, balanced effort. This is what you want to see. This is what you usually see, what we're used to seeing out of Kevin O'Connell's offense. Now, it's against a bottom 3 or 4 defense in football with a whole lot of issues and a whole lot of demoralized going on in Washington, but a really good effort. Just shout out my most impressive guy. I'll take the big right tackle, Brian O'Neill, 77.2 pass blocking grade, 1 pressure allowed. How about 9 positively graded run blocks from your right tackle? That's how you run the football a little bit better. Really good effort from Minnesota on offense, which I think obviously it was a good effort all the way around from them in this game for sure.
Yeah, no, it was just clear that Minnesota was the better football team basically in every way, and my most disappointing is just the Commanders' defense. I mean, there's so many issues with what's going on there. They don't have a dominant one-on-one pass rusher. The interior defensive line is not playing well this season. The linebackers, I think Frankie Louvu is a really good attacking linebacker, but they're forcing him to play a lot more in coverage this year because Bobby Wagner's lost a step in coverage. So now you're asking Louvu to kind of be the type of linebacker that he isn't really, because he's more of a Sam and he's more of an attacking type of a guy there. Then you get into the secondary, and it's just guys who are banged up. They're just not playing well. Sainristil's not having a good year. Will Harris, I think, had a below 50.0 coverage grade. It's obviously Marshawn Lattimore not in the lineup anymore either. It's just really tough based on all 3 phases for the Commanders' defense. Vikings offense was able to take control pretty early. Shout out to J.J. McCarthy for being able to do that. When I go back and watch it, he's still a little, jittery about everything, but I think that there were some really nice throws. Like the Josh Oliver touchdown, really nice touchdown. I mean, that's a really tight window throw that he was able to fire in there. My most impressive was Josh Oliver. I felt like he was one of, if not the best player that we saw in this game. Not only did he have the 2 receiving touchdowns in this one, which, by the way, he has 10 receptions all year, 4 of them are for touchdown. He was also great as a blocker. 76.8 run blocking grade from him. There were a handful of plays where when they're running 12 personnel, 13 personnel, they're running heavy. Josh Oliver's the tight end who's attached to the line of scrimmage. Josh Oliver's it's not TJ Hawkinson. They have him off the line of scrimmage. They have him as the wingback. They have Josh Oliver on the line of scrimmage next to the offensive tackle. So the versatility of what Oliver's able to do, it's beyond just those 2 touchdown catches that he got there. I thought he was really well-rounded in this game. But, obviously there's just not a lot to say about a 31-0 type of a matchup.
No, I mean, Washington, they've been struggling on both sides, and I think the only thing that gets you a little bit discouraged here is the fact that they had Jaden Daniels back in this game, and it was still just it was
not good.
Lifeless.
Yeah.
I mean, and there were moments where Washington moved the ball well, and then you got to a 3rd or a 4th down call where I really thought Brian Flores won the day because he just the aggressiveness that he plays with, and they have the highest blitz rate in the league in Minnesota. It was a good mix of blitz and then backing off at certain times with, backing off from Daniels and making him think about it in the pocket a little bit. But, no, I mean, this Washington team, you've talked about, worst-case scenarios for certain teams. And, sometimes, certain teams are going to go through it every year. You're going to get worst-case scenarios. But they're really going through it. One more stat on Josh Oliver for you. I was pulling it up as I was going on the rant here. Over the last 4 seasons, the best run-blocking tight ends in the NFL, number 1 is George Kittle. Number 2 is Josh Oliver.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, it's such a valuable role. I think they gave him an extension this past offseason, right? It's such a valuable role he plays in this offense because it allows you to move Hawkinson around like that. He really is a very important piece for them.
And I remember watching him at San Jose State, I think is where he, if I remember correctly, where he went to college.
Correct.
I remember watching his tape at San Jose State, and a lot of people looked at him as sort of like more of a receiving tight end. He had that longer, thinner frame. He had the long arms, and that's really what I watched him as, sort of like a receiving tight end. And now he has blossomed into this full-time, can play on the line of scrimmage type of a tight end. He is one of the more underrated tight end twos, I think, in the NFL, to be honest with you. And I'll say this too, not that he does everything that Hawkinson does, because I do think that Hawkinson's a better receiver and he's more multiple as a receiver with what he could do from the slot and all that kind of stuff. But Hawkinson's cap hit balloons next year to the point where they have to restructure his contract or cut him, one of the two. He can't play on the current numbers that he has going into next season. So you could, in theory, restructure him and everything would be fine. But they cut him. They do save a good amount of cap. I think they're under the cap. I think they're over the cap right now. They need to get under the cap, obviously. The way that Josh Oliver plays, at least you think about it because of how good of a tight end he is.
Sure, but you still need – then you would need to replace a player like Hawkins.
Right,
like Hawkinson,
more of a receiving tight end, but you could draft.
Absolutely.
Right? You could draft a player like that, like Jack Endries, Max Clare, like one of these guys who you could probably get round 3, right? So now all of a sudden you don't have to pay Hawkinson what you're paying him. You just get one of those guys on a rookie contract.
It's the same reason that Seattle drafted Elijah Arroyo to go with an A.J. Barner.
Right.
Because Barner is such a terrific blocker, and then Kubiak gets in the 12. I mean, the same thing. Clint Kubiak, Kevin O'Connell, same offense, right? We've talked about that. It's I mean, to have two guys, two different, the Y and the F tight end, Michael Mayer, Brock Bowers. When everyone was talking about, well, are they going to trade Michael Mayer? Why would you? You've got a completely different skill set that works in the traditional parts of this position. And then you can do whatever you want with Bowers, tight end, receiver, however you want to play him. Having Knox and Hawes and Kincaid, the Bills, all the really good offenses right now in the league are doing this. They've got two different types of tight ends, the Y and the F. And Josh Oliver plays that Y position so well for this team.
Anything else on this one?
Nope. It's pretty straightforward.